Hi guys, I hope everybody's doing okay. I know it's a tough time for everyone. You know, everybody has to stay home under quarantine, diba? Under lockdown. So, but the good thing with that is we get to spend time with our families, diba? And you know, it's for the best for everyone. So, importante talaga yan. So, today, instead of doing food review, I'm gonna do a car talk. So, we're gonna talk about cars. We're gonna talk about, is it better to buy brand new or is it better to buy second-hand? Let's say if you have a budget of 1 million pesos here in the Philippines, so that's around $20,000 more or less. So for 1 million, you could buy a lot of cars brand new, but you're limited in terms of the size of the car and the engine displacement of the car, diba? But in a second-hand market, 1 million pesos is a lot to buy you even a luxury car or even a luxury SUV or something of that. You know, you could buy a car that was worth 2 or 3 million pesos 5 years ago. Now it would be worth 1 million now or even less. So it really depends on the market and where do you find the car. So we're gonna talk about that and what are the advantages, disadvantages of buying a used versus a brand new car. We're also gonna talk about what do you have to look for when you buy second-hand car. Because when you buy second-hand cars, you have to look for you know, certain things before you even purchase it. And it's important to also, if you're not that knowledgeable in cars, to have a trusted mechanic with you that has a OBD scanner to check the car. So we'll talk about all of this. I'm just gonna go back home. I just you know, went around the villages to warm up the car. So my tip, guys, pala, when you have a car, if you have a car, if you haven't been using it for more than 2 weeks, my advice is to disconnect the battery first if you're not going to use the car during the quarantine. Pero if you're going to use it, kahit once a week, drive it around the village or around your street para, you know, all the liquids, all the oil comes in the engine. You run the alternator, you run the car. It's bad kasi if you don't run it for 2 weeks or more. So, you know, battery, medyo mahal siya. You know, it can average from 6 to 12,000 pesos or even more depending on what car you drive. So if I really disconnect it, if you have a battery charger, like a C-Tech charger, that would be better. Hook it up para hindi ma-discharge yung battery nyo. So continue watching this video and I'll talk about cars. Hi guys, I'm here at the back seat of my car. Normally I don't sit in the back, so sabi ko, let's enjoy the back seat naman kasi I always drive my car. So anyway guys, I made this channel because my passion is cars and food, and of course also basketball. That was my sport when I was younger. So I did the channel for that purpose, to show that you could buy used or new cars and appreciate new and used cars. At the same time, I also do a lot of cooking, so that's the reason why I'm doing a lot of food reviews now, because we're under quarantine, so we have to stay home. I can't do car reviews as of now, but after all this is done, and hopefully soon, when everybody, you know, we can get back to our normal lives, I'll start doing car reviews. I have a couple of cars lined up already, so just stay tuned for that. And I just want to thank you, everybody who's been watching the channel. I appreciate the people who subscribe also as well. Just continue watching, and I'll do my best in putting out really nice car reviews. You know, I try to make it as simple as possible. So there you go. So let's talk about second-hand and brand new cars, right? What are the advantages and disadvantages of these cars? So let's start with second-hand. The advantages. So I have a list here that I wrote earlier. My penmanship's really bad. I kind of write like a lawyer, I guess, like a doctor. So it's medyo magulo. So advantages. Upfront cost. So price. So with a second-hand car, it's a lot cheaper depending on the car that you buy. So let's say if you wanted to buy a luxury car now for 1 million pesos for a second-hand car, you can actually buy it. But if you go to the showroom now, it's impossible to buy a 1 million peso brand new luxury car. So that's one advantage, right? Then depreciation. So the depreciation will be transferred to the first owner of the car, right? So he bought, or she bought that car brand new. So let's say that person bought it for 3 million and now it's only worth 1.5 to 1 million after a couple of years. So it's an advantage for you as the second owner of that car. Okay. Then the third is, like I said earlier, you could get a nicer car for less money. Then fourth, it's unique car. You can make it your own car. So let's say for 1 million you buy the car for 700,000. That 300,000 you could set up the car to your style, right? You could buy rims, tires, sound setup, or even car wrap the car, which is very uso siya na yun, diba? So if your car's white and you want it to be black, you don't need to repaint the car. So you could wrap the car in gloss black, metallic, or flat. So that's also one option, right? So you could make it unique to your own liking. So it won't be like any other car on the road. So that's also an advantage, right? Then the fifth one would be, you could buy a classic European or Japanese car. So for example, a BMW. So if you want a BMW, you could buy even the old school BMWs like the E30s, E34, E36, E46. You know, Mercedes-Benz like W210, W211, and you could even buy the baby Benz, which is the 190e. So there's a lot of nice cars that you could buy for way less than 1 million actually. And the difference, you could restore the car, right? You could make it your project car. So that's a nice thing. If you're a car enthusiast, if you love cars, a lot of people do that. So they buy second-hand cars and fix it up. So then it's going to look brand new and it's going to be unique. So it's going to be a part of history as well, because these cars were, you know, from the mid 80s till now. So we're talking about 25-30 years. So you know, it's a classic already. You know, you could consider it as a classic, right? Then another is, personally for me, I feel more satisfied when I buy a second-hand car, because of course I don't have to pay for the you know, the enormous price that they put on a brand new car from the showroom floor, right? You don't have to pay for the, you know, in depreciation doesn't go through you, it goes to the first owner. So it's also satisfying in a way. I'm not saying that brand new cars are not satisfying to buy, but it's also nice when you pay for something way less. So if you could buy a S-Class Mercedes-Benz, and you know, even though it's 20 years old, if it's maintained properly, and if you have enough budget to fix it up the way you want, it's gonna look nice. It's gonna look nice, and people are gonna applaud you for having a car like that, right? So it's just a little patience lang on a second-hand car. Just a little bit of patience, looking for parts and time, right? Because you, like I said, compared to a brand new car, you have to fix certain stuff. But that doesn't mean that it breaks all the time. It really depends on the history of the first owner, and if he maintained it well. And also you have to maintain cars, regardless if it's brand new or second-hand. Okay, so then also let's talk about the brand new naman, advantages of brand new cars. So brand new is warranty, so the car is under warranty, diba? So you have that peace of mind from that if the engine does break, or the transmission, for most cases it doesn't naman, but if it does, or there's certain parts, it's covered by the warranty. So that's one advantage of a brand new car. Second would be the periodic maintenance. Some distributors like Mazda, I think SsangYong, I think BMW also, they give free periodic maintenance for like around 3 years, or 3 years. Mazda, the Yojin, and SsangYong, same. They give 3 years free, so you don't have to pay for oil, you don't have to pay for the filters, you don't even have to pay for the labor. So in 3 years, that's free. So another one is, problems won't happen more or less 3 to 5 years of purchasing that car brand new. So you don't have to worry about the car breaking down in 3 or 5 years, or sometimes even 5 years. Nothing's gonna go wrong. Hindi kagaya ng second-hand car, you really don't know. It's it's you know, sometimes biglang mag-overheat yung car, and it could be the water pump, it could be the radiator, the hoses, something like that. You don't know, because you don't know how, you know, when that certain part was replaced by the first owner, or if it was replaced at all, right? So that's one thing to think about. That's why I said, when you buy second-hand cars, be patient. You have to be patient and a little knowledgeable. But the nice thing with that is, you know, you could search everything online, and there's so many car clubs that can help you. So if you buy a BMW car, there are BMW car clubs. Mercedes, same thing. Lexus, same thing. Toyota, Mitsubishi, all those car brands. There's a lot of people who will help you and who are knowledgeable. So I think that is not a problem. Okay. Then, of course, the advantage of a brand new car is technology. So all the new cars now have, you know, the tech is way up there. So you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you even have Waze, stuff like that. Then, of course, in terms of safety, of course, mas advanced ang safety ng brand new car, because you have a lot of, you know, the EBD system, the ABS, and stuff like that. Not saying that 20 years ago you didn't have that, but it's a little bit more advanced now. So you'll have those technology that you won't have in the older cars. So that's one thing. Second, then also the design of the car. So you have the newest and latest design. Some like it, some don't. Personally, me, it depends on the car. But I like older cars. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So I'm used to a little bit more simpler in design, in terms of car design. So it really depends on you. I mean, modern cars are nice, but I tend to see a lot of modern cars from different manufacturers have the same design. They kind of copy from each other. Hindi kagaya before, you would know if it was really a Mercedes, you would know if it's a BMW, you would know if it's a Toyota even, or a Nissan Patrol. But you could really distinguish, you know, you could really separate the two in terms of design. So that's it depends on your preference talaga. Then also parts, like I said, engine and transmission is covered by the warranty. So that's very, very important. So those are the advantages of a brand new car. So then let's talk about the disadvantages of a second-hand car. So disadvantages, you don't know when a certain part will break, like I said. Then some parts may not be readily available. So European or luxury Japanese cars, sometimes depends on the part, you have to wait for it, or you have to order it online through you know, eBay or Amazon or wherever. Then, like I said, previous owner never parts to replace. You don't know when that previous owner replaced the parts, so that's a disadvantage. And sa brand new naman is depreciation, cost of technology breaking. So because there's so much technology in the car, so there's so much systems, modules, you know, after 5 years or more, masisira yan, and it will cost a lot to repair. So you have to take that into account when also buying a brand new car. That doesn't mean when you buy brand new and that's it. You know, after 3 or 5 years, things will break and it won't be covered by warranty. And you have to think about also reliability of the car, diba? Not all cars are reliable. Not all car brands are reliable. It depends on the model also of the car. So do a little research and look at the second-hand market in terms of parts. Like after warranty is done, look at if it's easy to buy outside the casa. Kasi casa, you know, it's expensive. They really hike up their price in terms of parts and labor. So I always tell my friends, when you buy a second-hand car, you don't need to go to casa. There's so many parts now, there's so many shops now and mechanics that are capable in fixing your car. Depends what car you have or what car you bought, right? So you don't have to go to casa anymore. You only go to casa when your car is still under warranty. Okay. So now we'll talk about why do you buy a second-hand car, right? Okay, why is it, well, no, sorry, not why, but when buying a second-hand car, when buying it, you have to look at these things. So one is check service history. So check if that person, the owner, has regularly maintained that car. Change oil, filters, tires, brake pads, stuff like that, right? Suspension parts. So check if they have the receipt for that. That's very important. Then check for engine and transmission leaks, diba, sa oil. So if the first owner, and if you're interested in buying that person's car, ask that person if you could bring it to a shop that can lift the car so you could see the suspension and if there are leaks in the car. It's very, very important because gaskets and stuff like that can be expensive, not because of the parts but because of the labor. So it's a lot of labor has to be put into that car. Okay, then also check if the oil is still fresh, meaning is it still clean, kaka-change lang ba ng oil, or the brake fluid, power steering fluid, if it's hydraulic power steering, if it's fresh, there's no burning smell in the liquid. So check all of that. Then also check the market value of the car, right? Check how much it really is it worth now. So that's where you could haggle in terms of price, diba? Tapos if there are parts to be replaced, you could also tell the owner that ito yung mga parts na kailangan palitan, you have to replace it. Then you could negotiate starting from there, right? Then also check the tires, check the DOT, check the tires if when was the year that it was purchased. I advise normally na at most 5 to 6 years at most. It doesn't mean if makapal pa yung tires. Tires crack, the sidewall crack. So 5 to 6 years, dapat replace na yun. Okay? Always, at the end of the day, buy the car that you want. Regardless if it's not really a popular demand car locally or even abroad. Kasi here in the Philippines, there's this notion na if you buy luxury cars, second-hand or brand new, na masakit sa ulo. It really depends. It depends on you, depends on your capability to buy, and depends on your passion with cars. You have to have a certain amount of love for your cars. So if you love your cars and you take care of them, that car will also take care of you in the long run. And you'll always be happy. At the end of the day, if it's your passion, that's what's important. So buy whatever car you want. So there you go. So I hope you liked the video. So it's nice to talk about these things because a lot of people, if they have a certain budget, it's also nice to look at second-hand market, diba? Me personally, I love second-hand cars. I've had old cars from 92 BMW E34s to until now. I still have a 2001 E46 BMW. So I had it for 19 years. So it's a great car, and I will never sell it. I'll always keep it in the family because it's part of my family. It's part of history, right? Like I said, it doesn't matter what car you buy. It doesn't matter if it's a 50,000 peso car to a 10 million peso car. It really doesn't matter. As long as you want that car, that's the car that you want. That's end of the day. That's what's important. But of course, we have to also think about when it comes to cars maintenance, ba? So always look at the second-hand market, and people are willing to help. That's the nice thing with technology today. There's so many Facebook pages, there's so many YouTube channels that can help you in terms of maintaining your car, and so you're knowledgeable enough now you don't get ripped off by other shops and and mechanics, diba? So there you go, guys. So I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up, and if you have comments, you could ask me questions about cars and food, or anything that you want to ask. I hope you guys are doing okay. Please take care. Have a good day.